chance to make some calls as well. Did you want to share? Did you want to share your experience that you had with the call script that I kind of created out of thin air? I don't know how that went.
Yeah, it was one of my first to do calling, so I wasn't really prepared. But you gave me some instructions and some tips, so um, I will be use. I think it will be very helpful when I do calls again tomorrow.
Yeah, and the thing is with the cold calling, the face-to-face marketing, the only way you're going to learn is actually doing it. This kind of stuff is,
Yeah,
there's only so much theory that's going to really help you. I learned a lot about sales, but till I actually went door to door knocking on people's houses, that's actually where I learned most about sales, getting rejected, learning to talk, learning to use your voice, looking at people's eyes. Like this is, face to face. If you don't make eye contact, people aren't going to really pay much attention to you. So, yeah, a lot of the learning will come from you actually doing it. But I would suggest keeping notes when you do the calls, what went right, what went wrong, so you can bring it up, and then there might be different ways you can handle objections and things like that. All right.
Yes, sir.
All right. I hope everyone's got a notepad because I don't actually have the notes up yet. So today, what we were going to talk about was lead generation. I'd like to, before I go into it, I'd just like to hear your any understanding of what you think lead generation might be.
Visionary.
Yes. How about yourself, Gurulin? I'll throw you in the deep end this time. What do you think lead generation is?
It's an initiation of consumer interest or inquiry into products or services of a business.
Okay. I love that kind of the technical description of it. What do you think it is like to you in your own words? What is it? Like what kind of actions would you need to take?
Uh,
What would you need to do? Like what are the things you think might be involved?
it's more on like
Products.
advertising, sir.
Yeah, there is a bit of advertising, and we already talked about one of them.
It's a marketing process, sir. Like it's a marketing process of stimulating, stimulating and capturing interest in a product or service,
Yeah.
for the purpose of developing a sales pipeline.
Yeah. Okay. So it's really if we were to kind of dumb it down and say, okay, in kind of 6-year-old language, it would be like finding customers that that are interested in your products and they may want to buy, right? So it's
Yes.
just
Mhm.
trying to find those customers that have a potential to buy your product. So if I were to sell large men, if I tried to sell huge menswear to someone who's thin, that's not really going to be a potential customer for me. So we've got to make sure when we approach that we find the right, we're actually targeting the right customers. In terms of lead generation activities, what is sales to an organization? So for example, bringing in enough sales to your business, why is that important? I mean, I know it's pretty obvious, but why do you think that's important? And Nikki?
It would only be that your marketing are working very well, and then you're able to gather a lot of customers.
Yeah, but why is it important? What at the end of the day, what are you going to get from those sales?
That's where you get your income.
All right. So the way you, I guess, justify your existence in a role and getting some money in so we can pay the employees, right? But sales is really it's like the oxygen of the business. Without sales, the business can't operate. And nowadays, it's not just one person within an organization that needs to be good at sales. It's really, we've got to train everyone to be good at sales and marketing, because if a customer talks to you, you've got to be able to promote your business, what you do, and get them to feel like it's something they want to be a part of. Right? So it's not just the thinking; they've got to feel it, that it's something really good to be a part of that your organisation and say a customer. Generally, in terms of generating sales, we'd want at least 6 lead generation activities. Okay, so for a business, if one doesn't work, there's the other ones kind of are working in parallel. So, Laurie, what are some lead generation activities? Now, Dorlin mentioned what lead generation is. We've got a couple of different.
Yes, sir.
What do you think? Like, just some things that you might think are lead generation type activities.
I think these are the things that you do to pursue your target market.
Sure. But what are some things? What's one thing that you did last week or this week? Sorry.
Last week I did like calling
Yep. So cold
clients.
calling. Yep. Cold calling is one lead generation activity.
Yeah.
Can you girls think of any others? What about you? Any other activities?
Blog posts or
Blog posts.
video.
Okay, that's great. Yes.
Marketing campaigns also, sir.
Marketing campaigns, but be a little bit more specific. What else do you think might?
Consumer events, advertising, trade shows,
Yep.
blogs, webinars.
Okay, cool. So you got different kind of layers of things you can do. If you cast your mind back to the first training we did on the sales funnel, can you remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I have.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So right up the top, we had leads coming in, and then we had that top layer, which was kind of like the free value. So they might be blog posts, tweets, just things you give for free. Then in the middle, you had things like PDFs, things you need to exchange, so that you kind of give the customer it's called an ethical bribe. So you say, look, here's our free e-course on how to generate more leads. Please put your email in, and we'll send you out an email or this 7 steps to generating more leads. Okay, and then all the way down you get to a sale. So generally in a business, you'd want to have 6 of those and specific to your business. So, for example, I'm just going to pick things that you're working in. So, is it Mitchell's Solicitors that you're working for? Like one of the
Sir.
Yes, sir.
So, being specific, what kind of lead generation activities do you think might their customers? Where do you think you would find their customers?
According to our client, sir, he got most of his customers through personal interaction.
Okay, all right. So
Yeah, they
that's
didn't rely much on social media marketing.
hi, Nick.
He says hi.
So that's one. The thing is that one that's great. That's working at the moment. But what your job is to be proactive and go, well, where else might these customers hang out? What other places? And that may take a little bit of research for you to do online, right? But as soon as you find where that connection, it's called a connection point, right? So
Yes, we have access to all their sites and as well as their Google AdWords campaigns.
okay. And have you found any other lead kind of places where they hang out?
Sir, Based on what we saw in the under Mitchell Solicitor's account, um, from this this one's from Google Analytics. So where customers view Mitchell Solicitors. So mostly from listing on search.
Yeah.
Yeah, listing on search and yeah.
I'm just aware, and I might take some of this clips out. We're going to put this on YouTube, so let's probably avoid using customer names.
Okay, sir.
Just say a legal company or something like that. So
Mhm.
my apologies for that. So I'll edit that out. But so okay, so you said business listing websites, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, and then, you know, that's now you got two kind of lead generation places that you look for customers. You've got to kind of cover those six. So there's enough of a supply of leads coming in for you to generate that next level. You know, that next level of interaction where you might do a presentation or you might get a number of appointments booked in, so someone from that business can go out and talk to the customer, or the customer can go to them. If we're not doing that, what do you think might be a result? What do you think might happen if we're not getting enough leads into a business? What's
You
going to
won't get um you won't get enough traffic, sir, since lead generation enables your business and your business and your business's website to create enormous traffic,
Yep.
and
what
this
does traffic?
leads to more sales and higher conversion rates.
Yeah, so that's correct. So you went through that kind of path of getting the traffic, and then eventually it leads to less sales if we don't have enough leads coming in the pipeline. Yeah. So I just wanted to stress the importance of having those 6 lead generation activities. And if you've only got a couple going at the moment, look out for what those other ones are. And the only way to really know if it's going to work is to test them out. So, for example, with Laurie, we're doing the cold calling for a trainer, and we're phoning high schools and universities. Now, at the end of that, we may say, look, we've had 10 people interested. It's actually worth pursuing this in the future in other cities. Or we might make a call and go, well, no, this isn't generating enough leads. Right. Okay. All right. So the next step to generating in that process is to have a script or a process to follow. So we already covered this in the second training that we did in terms of having a script. It's also important to have a process. What am I getting to in terms of a process? What do I mean by that? What's your understanding of that?
I think, sir, you have to know what you will do next so that you will be effective in um, with your activities.
Yep. So after a phone call, what's the next activity? Like what do you think of?
Do the follow-up email.
Yep.
To those, yeah. To those who gave their emails.
Yeah. So at the moment, the marketing activities you're doing, do you have a defined process? Okay, you make a call, you send an email, and then what comes next? Like, is there some defined set of steps that you're following, or is that something that you're kind of developing at the moment?
Yeah, I'm still on the process of putting into place what my activities are.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And it's good. It's exciting because it's like it's something new, you know. But once you have a defined process, you can then start to estimate what kind of results you're going to get. You know, for every 10 phone calls, you might go, I'm going to get 1 sale. So you'll get to that level once you've done it enough time. You might have to do it about 100 times, but once you've done it, you go, okay, for every 100 calls I make 3 sales.
Mm.
Okay, which means
yes, sir.
$6,000. I don't know whatever that figure is. It's going to you're going to be able to estimate that. The next thing I'd mention, and you might want to take notes, is you've got to set targets. Nothing's going to come about if you don't set some targets. So, for example, the calls I've said, look, try and make 30 calls in a day. Of those 30 calls, try and get 15 contacts, and of those 15 contacts, try and get 8 emails or something like that. You have a certain ratio you come down to. So in a day, you go, I'm going to definitely aim for 8 email addresses that I can send this great flyer out to. If you don't, what do you think might happen by the end of the day? You've made all these calls and you're kind of like, had a couple of cups of coffee and you're back at your desk and I've only made 3 calls. It's not saying anyone's lazy, but everyone has a tendency to do that. And it's just, if we don't have some set goals in place, we're not aiming for anything, The best example I've heard is if you're traveling somewhere and nowadays do you use a GPS in your car, or if you're traveling with someone, do you have a GPS on your mobile? Or you've got a map, yeah, that you've got?
Yes, sir.
If you haven't got a set destination, you're not really going anywhere, right? So it's like, okay, how do I get there? So for the day, when you're going out marketing, it's important you set those goals. It might be a daily, it might be an hourly. And if you're with your customers, it's also important that you set some goals monthly and for the quarter. So that might be something you do with your line manager, where you sit down and you go, okay, well, how many customers do we actually want to create for this business? And you might do the planning and go, oh, well, we're going to have to work 10 hours more to do that, or there's not enough effort there to cover that. So it helps you to break down your effort as well. What are some, I've already mentioned some, so this is a quiz, so anyone can put their hand up. What are some things you can measure what are some targets you can set in terms of customers?
Elaborate more on the question. I'm confused.
All right, so you've got someone said to you, I'm doing a course. I need to get some customers to come to my event. To my event. I want some people to come to my event. Here's 200 people that I've got off the internet. Go and do your thing. So how would you break that down? What would you start with? And you've got a week to do it. So what's the first step you would take with that? Don't worry about getting it wrong, okay? So I want you girls to feel like this is a safe environment, okay? Don't worry about it. Just throw some ideas my way. So you've got it. I've given you a list of customers, and I want you to invite them I want you to get at least 50 people to my event. I've given you 200 people. What's that first thing that you'll need from me or to create? How about you, Geraldine? I'm gonna.
The very first thing that.
Yeah. What's the first thing? What's that first thing that we talked about that we went through last week?
Should know I know. You should introduce yourself.
Yeah. So the script, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you want to get a script ready. What are some examples of targets you might set?
The deadline of sending emails.
Okay, deadline. But what's something more? What's something more specific you can measure daily? Like what's something? So you've got 200 people to phone or to contact. How would you break that up during the week? Like what could you do? How many would you need to do a day?
Probably you have to estimate how much time you will need to do all those things.
Yep. Can we break the 200 down into 5 days? Is that something you could start with?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So what's
That's
200? My maths isn't working that great today.
40
What's
persons a
200
day.
divided by 5?
Or
Okay, all right, 40. So we got to at least, to meet our deadline, we got to at least do 40. I'd probably push for 50, so you got a bit of extra time to do the emailing. Remember, it's not just the phone calling. You've got to do the follow-ups, and there might be times where the phone's out, so you always estimate a little bit more at the start, so you have a day free, right? You might want to take notes on these. So the number of connects is different to the number of people you ring. This is specifically for cold calling, okay? So what's the difference between number of connects and number of calls you make? What do you think I mean by a connect?
I think connect means you're able to engage with the person that you're calling.
Yes.
So it just doesn't mean that it just not plainly calling. He or she showed interest in your service, something like that.
Yes. Yeah. And it's not just anyone. Who is it that I'm connecting with? Who it's someone that's actually interested in the product.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a potential client like that.
Potential customer. So it's not the secretary, it's not the receptionist, it's actually the person. They may not have the power to make the decision, but they're definitely one of the influencers who will kind of go, oh, we need this product. So they're a potential customer. Other things you can estimate or you can set goals towards include appointments booked and also appointments had. Right? Okay, I'm just looking at my notes. So, okay, you're making all these phone calls, you're sending all these emails, and where will you, how are you record? Like, do you think it's important to record all this? Do you think you might want to come back to this at a certain point? Anyone jump in?
I think it's important, sir.
Okay,
So that you'll
why is it important?
it's so that you'll be able to track your progress.
Right. Do you think we might want to make these calls again to these people in 2 weeks' time?
Mm-hmm.
So if we're following a process, now remember we talked about having a defined process, yeah,
yes,
that we follow in a marketing campaign. So we make that first call, we send out that first email. There's going to be a second call and a second email. There might be even a third call and a third email. So it's important we note all this down in a database or a spreadsheet. We note the person's name down. And I might sound like I'm repeating myself, and I probably will go over this about 50 times so you kind of go, oh, okay, that's why it's important, right? That's one reason, but why do you think it's important for another reason for the business for you to have a database or a list? What do you think it adds to the business. Now, this is a really important one. Once you get this, you get understanding of what you're trying to build.
You can always use that list in your events, or if there are any.
Right. Okay. So you can reuse it. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Dorlin, what do you think is another important reason for having that list?
Sir, for having data.
Yeah, database or a list or a spreadsheet of customers.
For businesses, sir, because it helps them to expose variability and optimize their operations
Right.
for the highest quality results.
Why do you think? What does it add to the business though? What is the? It's one word. It starts with the. What does it add to the business?
Volume.
Sorry.
Volume.
Value.
Value.
Value. Yes. Why does it add value to the business? If someone was to come your and go, oh, did you say volume or value?
Loy said volume.
Probably both. Probably both. Add a bit of volume to the business. If I was if I wanted to buy your business and I come to your business and you've got some customers, but you don't really have a kind of a lead generation system, or you don't have a list of customers, do you think I'd be more inclined to buy your business if you did have that? Like it's got something set up to actually generate sales? Yeah? I'd be more inclined to buy it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So it adds great, it's not just a little bit, like they say, especially internet marketing, the money is actually in the list. It's not anything else. It's having that database of customers you can contact and go, oh, here's a new product that we've created. And, you know, if you've got a list of 10,000, 20,000 people, at least 3% of those people are going to buy that product. If you didn't have that, you might have the best product in the world and you can't sell it because you don't know who wants it. So having that database, that list, that way you can connect with your customers again is really important. So, Laurie, what did I get you to do this week when you were making the calls? What did I get you to create first up?
You set me goals, sir.
Oh, we've only got 10 minutes. Sorry, I need to upgrade this account. I didn't realize it was 40 minutes. We'll reconnect again, okay? If we get kicked off. Yeah. So what did I get you to create before you started making the calls?
You wanted me to read the script that you made for me.
Yep, but what did I get you to create after that? What did I say you have to create online and share it with me? Or I might have created it for you and then shared it with you.
The flyer. What flyers?
The flyers. Yeah, I got you to do a lot of stuff, so I'm a bit
Sorry.
But what did I get you to create? Like in terms of making the calls, where did I get you to track that?
After making the calls, I have to do email.
Yeah, you tracked it all in a spreadsheet, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so that is our database. That is our list. That's the thing that we will do.
Yeah.
So it's great. You've made the calls. You've sent the emails, or in the process of sending the emails because we're developing the flyer. But the actual value that you've added there is that creating that list. That is the most important part, right? And that's kind of like the output of that that exercise. All right. So the next important point I wanted to make was in terms of always following up. So you make that first call, you send that first email. Nikki, do you think customers, they've just talked to you for the first time, they've just received your first email, do you think they're going to buy something off you? Put yourself in the customer's situation. Put yourself in their shoes. You're the customer. I've come to you and I said, hey, Nikki, I've got these really great shoes. They're made of, special lamb's wool and they're great for your feet. Would you like to buy a pair? There you go. There's a brochure. Are you going to buy it? It's
Not
$200.
not direct.
You're not going to buy it?
I know. I would have to research about it.
Yeah.
And
So you want to
see
read
it.
the information, yeah?
Yes. So I want to put that call of it. I want to have more time.
Right. I feel like I'm talking to an experienced shoe buyer here, so I've got a really tough customer by the looks of it. Okay, so second time round, I phone you. Oh, Nikki, I sent you through some information. Did you get a chance to look at that? The information about the shoes, the lamb's wool shoes. Are you? What were your thoughts?
Well, sir, it depends on the interest also.
Okay, you might not be interested in that at all, and you might be the wrong customer for it. But what I'm trying to get at is, it may take you 3 or 4 times. Has there been a time where you guys have bought something, but you've had to see it like 10 times for you to buy it?
Yes, correct. Especially when it's expensive.
Okay.
Yes.
You got
Need
to
to compare the price
you look
and
around.
the quality.
Yeah. You go to different stores and have a look. It's the good price.
And compare the prices.
Yep. Now, if you like the product, who would you buy? Would you be inclined to buy it from any particular person?
I would prefer to buy it from someone that is or someone that I know personally.
Okay. And
Or you take a look at the reviews of that seller if they're getting enough positive feedbacks from their buyers.
this is a really important point. You've uncovered it. I wasn't really going to go into this, but I think this is really important. So let's explore it a little bit here. You said someone you know. There's someone you trust, yeah? Someone
Yes.
you personally know. So in sales, one of the things that it's not really taught that well is you've got to get that person, and you've got a very short window of time, okay? You make that phone call, you've got a very short window of time. You've got to get them to trust you. And that's not an easy thing to do, but there are ways you can do it, and you can, some people abuse this because the techniques you can sell someone anything using some of these techniques, so you've got to be ethical about this. But yeah, so that's an important point you've uncovered there in terms of getting someone to trust you, getting someone to like you, and if they already like the product and they like you as a person and they believe in the company, they're really inclined to buy from you. Okay? And sometimes the price they're going to overlook the price. The price might be $50 more or 50 pesos more, or whatever it is, whatever currency we're talking about. They will buy from you purely because they like you. So always follow up. That was the next thing we covered. The customer may buy, 3 calls in, 4 calls in. It might be 5 calls down the track. All right. the last point I've got for today is in terms of lead generation activities, your current customers, what value could they add to the lead generation activity?
If they, I'm sorry, like,
No, it's okay. You can go ahead.
if your customers are satisfied with your services or products, they are likely to give a positive feedback or invite their friends to buy or avail of your services.
Yeah. So they may give a testimonial. Video testimonial is great if you can capture one. A written testimonial is great. Any testimonial is great. It's the thing is, we can tell people all about how good we are, blah blah blah. But they're going to believe someone else telling us. That's how the way the world works, unfortunately. So if I were to say, yeah, Laurie's a great person. She's a wonderful. She gets everything done. They'll believe me. But if Laurie goes up to them, I get everything done. I work on time. I get to work. They're like, nah, go away, Laurie. So it's funny. So we've got to make sure we capture those testimonials. What do you think is the ideal time to get testimonials from a customer? By the way, I just asked for a testimonial just then when a customer contacted me. So why do you think I asked now as opposed to maybe a week earlier? What state do you want to find them in? What do you want to find them in, a happy state or an unhappy state?
Of course, it companies.
Okay, what would make them happy?
Quality service, quality product.
Yep. So when things go well, when you deliver something on time and it's gone well and it's gone to their liking, do you think that's the perfect time to ask for a testimonial? Yeah?
They need to buy the product first, sir.
Yeah. So they bought the product. So let's just say they're a customer, and it's the perfect time. The perfect time is when. Okay, I'm going to get cut off. We'll connect back. Okay. Sorry. So reconnect. We'll probably have about another 15 minutes after this. So, all right.